Hello and welcome to Conversations. I am Robin, your host. Today we welcome Mr. Tony Tompkins. He is the new athletic director who came to Kansas City, Kansas Community College earlier this year. April 8th, I believe, was his starting date. And we're going to talk with Tony about his road to success and coming to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you've had quite a ride to Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep.
You've been to Illinois, California, and all over. So tell us about your beginnings. Well, I want to start from high school.
Okay.
Actually.
All right. In high school, well, I'll go a little bit back.
Okay.
Grew up in Sterling, Illinois. That's where I was born and raised. And then at the age of 10, we moved out to California. My dad had the itch to move, I guess. So he went out there to move, and we were out there for 2 years, and it was a special time for me, like I was telling you before. We were like a mile and a half away from the ocean, and so he would run, I would ride my bike, and like my love of basketball kind of started there, because then after that I'd ride with my basketball, and then we played one-on-one they had a court on the ocean, and I'd play with my dad one-on-one, and just kind of that started it a little bit. And
wow.
So it's kind of a special time for us, and then for some reason we moved back to North Central Illinois, like the Sterling Rock Falls area.
What was the name of the town?
Rock Falls.
Rock Falls,
which is like right across the river. So both towns were about 8,000 and pretty small. And then, but that's where I met my wife at our church youth group. And we dated since I think she was a sophomore in high school and I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
And then that kind of started our relationship. But when I started high school, we moved to, I'm backtracking again, we moved to Ohio, Illinois, because I went to a basketball camp, and that I was going to go to high school, and I didn't know my dad was there kind of watching in the bleachers, and camp ended. I was pretty excited. I was like, hey, looking forward to the season and getting school started and all that. And then my dad was like, well, you're not going to, we really don't want you playing for that coach. I go, okay. So I was like.
Did he give you a reason?
Didn't really give me a reason at the time, but my dad was a drill sergeant during Vietnam, and kind of pretty much what he said, you did. You did.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he didn't really cross that line, So I was like, okay, trusted my dad, and he had a connection, and he's like, well, let's check out this high school, and the name of the high school was Ohio High School, but it was located in Illinois.
Okay.
So middle of nowhere in cornfields, north central part of Illinois, and that was quite an adjustment. And I actually, it was a town of 550, but the town was very similar to like the setting of Hoosiers and all that stuff. So like when there was a basketball game, like everybody went there. Okay. So it was a basketball, it had a good success, and they had a good track record of people playing and then going on to college, and obviously that was the ultimate goal. So, and that's pretty much all I did was, play basketball, and go to school, so which was good.
Well, I'm trying to think in my mind, Ohio, Illinois,
yes.
2 states there.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely unique. I think it was named after, like, it was a train stop at one time that would go to the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Back in the day, I guess, I don't know, early 1900s, I guess, and that's kind of how I guess that's what they named it for, I guess, so as far as I know.
So playing basketball in high school, did you think about it beyond high school?
Yeah, I think every kid wants to go pro,
right.
You know what I mean? I probably was a little delusional, at the time. During high school, I was 5'10", maybe 5'11".
Oh, wow.
Like a $150, I was just a skinny kid, and I really didn't grow until like my junior year in college, so. But I still love the sport, and I think I learned a lot through the sport, and I think I always want to be around it no matter what. I thought I would be like a high school coach, and then just kind of the way, my career went, ended up being in college athletics, and so it was a good fit for me.
Well, tell us about your first year in college. What did you attend?
I started at Olivet Nazarene University, and went there for a year and a half. I basically went there. A lot of my friends went there, and that was kind of like, well, I'm gonna go where they went. And then
and you played basketball
I played basketball there, and then you start getting the bill of like how expensive a private school is, and it wasn't completely paid for yet. And it was one of those things you get in and you kind of work your way up, and you get more scholarship money. And
now, when did you go through your growth spurt?
That was into my junior year. I didn't, so my junior year. So I was
Okay.
still pretty lean and small a little
Okay.
bit. So, but I played like the point guard and 2 guard position, and then I decided, I want to make kind of a business decision a little bit. So I decided to go back to my junior year of college
Okay.
and save some money. And then I figured, well, like if I get seen here, then I can at least get a full ride somewhere. And so that's kind of what happened. And then I went to Sauk Valley Community College for a year and a half. I redshirted 1 year and played there 1 year, and then went to Missouri Baptist for 2 years.
Okay.
And got my school paid for.
Right.
So that was kind of the plan. So it worked out well. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about going into coaching.
Okay.
How did you? What happened? What made you realize coaching was your calling?
Just when I figured out, my wife and I married my senior year of college.
Okay.
And so that kind of put any stops of like trying to play overseas or doing anything like that. And I was like, I really still want to be around the game. We talked about it when we were dating. I was like, there's a good chance I may want to be a coach. Are you okay with that? And she was a great coach's wife, and I was fortunate enough to do my student teaching back home in Rock Falls, where we came from.
Okay.
So we left there, and I learned under a guy. I was a freshman coach. He was a varsity coach, but I also was able to do some varsity assistant coaching.
Okay.
And he was phenomenal. We won a state championship that year in '99, and was able to kind of ride his coattails along, learn a lot, and
Right.
be around those guys and stuff. So, but I liked the high school, but I really, really wanted to go into college coaching. And luckily, a door opened up back at Missouri Baptist. And so I took it, and it just kind of progressed through there.
What was the difference between the two? And I know the ages are a difference in
Yeah.
high school and college, but
The age was a factor, but mostly the recruiting. You get to choose your players
Okay.
At the college level, and I
Right.
really like that. And
Okay.
I love recruiting. I'd probably say that was probably the strength that I had as a coach. Obviously I continue to learn, but I really like the recruiting.
what do you look for? I
What I
mean,
look for, obviously, you look for talent.
Okay.
If a kid can play,
Right.
and then I look for toughness. Kids that just really get after it and play hard and are vocal and are good team players. And then usually on the back end, you'll find out what kind of student they are, and that means a lot. If they're a good student, then you're usually going to do well on the basketball court. So,
what
all those
about
three.
the young athletes who I want to say lose their heads on the court?
Mm-hmm.
They're more aggressive. They
Yeah.
get angry.
Yeah.
What would a college coach think about that type of student?
I look at it maybe a little bit differently. I kind of like that a little bit.
Okay.
Because then I think you can mentor them a little bit to control that, because but usually that means that they care a lot.
Okay.
And they care about their success. They care about winning. They care about if it's done in the right way. If there's a kid that's just pointing fingers and is lazy and stuff like that, I have a pretty good discernment about that. You can usually pick that out. But a kid that really is intense and let's say cries after a game or whatever, and is upset with
That's
something, a
very
loss.
emotional. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Because that means that they're really invested and they care about what they're doing.
All right. Well, we're going to come right back after a break.
All right. Thanks.
We'll be right back with Mr. Tony Tompkins. He's the new athletic director here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We'll be back.
Is your body holding you back?
Where do you think you're going?
I want to go running.
Not with that knee, you're not.
Your bones and joints can say no at any age.
Let's not pick her up. What do you say?
Yet a lot of people in pain fight back
Use your head. Save your back. My bride, my
and
rules.
regain their lives.
You gotta be kidding me.
Fight for your mobility. Visit anationinmotion.org. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
I'll take it from here.
Hi, and welcome back to Conversations. I'm Robin, and we're talking with the new athletic director, Mr. Tony Tompkins. Okay, so we went to talking about the type of student that a coach would look for, or a recruiter would look for. What about the quiet ones who are just doing their jobs? Is that Is that a good telltale sign that you got a
Yes.
good player?
Yes, you need those two,
Okay.
obviously, because you want
Uh-huh.
to have a balance. You don't have a bunch of emotional kids all on your team at once as well. So, yeah, I mean, just look for different things of what you're looking for a team and how that kid's going to fit, and try to build a relationship with them too. And the recruiting is what I try to look for, and are they going to be a good fit for me? And
How do
that's
you
kinda-
know where to go?
They're all over.
I mean, do
they're-
the high school coaches call? Hey, I got this kid. I want you
yeah,
to see this kid.
usually try to develop relationships is what I try to do with local coaches. I went back to Illinois a lot, even when I was in Missouri, just with certain coaches that I knew and programs I knew were successful. But there's all sorts of ways to get in touch with a coach. Usually, if the kid is proactive about it, is what I would suggest. Usually, a kid will get found. But yeah, the parents will sometimes send you stuff. High school coaches will send you stuff, even AAU coaches. So the best thing is to be proactive about it. So.
Okay. So your first year as a coach at the college level,
Yeah.
what was that experience like?
I was 26
Okay.
when I got the head coaching job. I think I was 26, and it was very interesting. So
Okay.
I learned a lot, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
But I knew I wanted the job, and we had a good year. I think we were like 23-8 maybe.
Okay.
We just missed the national tournament, but we had really good kids, and they just really worked hard. We had fun, and they just really played hard, and it was a good learning experience for me. Just trying to juggle everything, the recruiting, the games, the preparation, all that stuff. But
What was the most challenging part?
I think the most challenging part, obviously, is just dealing with people. I'm differing with 15 different young men. Trying to get them all on board to the same goal, and it never changes because it's the same challenge every year.
Right.
So, but it's fun. Because once you get that certain special group that all buys in and is together on a team, it's really fun. So.
Well, I can imagine the atmosphere when you win. It's really upbeat and happy.
Yeah.
What is it like when you lose?
Um,
Because we don't see that.
Yeah.
We see them walking back to the locker room.
Yeah.
But that's about all we see.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the situation. Usually, if our kids, if they played as hard as they could, and a couple plays just didn't go our way, we would never really not focus on it too much. Usually, if we didn't play well, or like our aggressiveness wasn't there, or we just weren't in it mentally, obviously there'd be a little tough conversation
Right.
immediately afterwards for a little bit.
Right.
But we tried not to dwell on it too much, and I made a mistake one time of dwelling on it way too long, and I think I might have lost him for like a week or two, and I kind of had to backtrack a little bit. So
Okay.
that was part of me being young too, just trying to figure all that out. So
Parents, how do you deal with parents? Because at a high school level,
yeah,
they can approach you just about anywhere.
Right.
I don't know if they can do that at
Right.
the college level.
You'd be surprised that some parents try to, and I just try to tell them, I was like, these guys are adults. This is our team. I'm really not going to discuss playing time or anything like that. If they're good enough, they're going to play.
Okay.
And because we're here to win and we're here to represent our institution well, and once you have that conversation, usually it goes over pretty well.
All right. So so from your first year on, you probably learned quite a bit.
Yes.
More about yourself than anything
Right.
else.
Yeah.
What was the most striking thing that you kind of came to terms with yourself?
I probably figure out, honestly, that winning and losing is important, but not nearly as important as trying to build relationships with my players.
Okay.
And obviously, my whole focus changed a little bit too once I had my daughter, Brooke, and it really kind of messed up my world a little
Okay.
bit. Because I was pretty driven. I was like, hey, I really want to go big time Division I. I want to kind of jump up that ladder in that way to be successful as a head coach, and then maybe get a D1 assistant. And I pretty much, once she entered the world, all that kind of like
Right.
it all changed.
Kids change.
Yeah, it all
They
changed.
change.
So I was like, all right, I'm all right where I'm at,
Okay.
and I'll just do the best job I can with the school I'm at, and just kind of see what happens from there. So
And let me ask you about the kids that come from all over, not just local kids. How do you, I guess, take care of them in a way that won't get into any trouble, but at the same time, you do have to kind of be there for them?
Yeah. You're pretty much on call 24 hours.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, our coaches even here, they do a really good job of, like, if there's anything, then they answer the call.
Coach is the first person they call.
Absolutely. And usually they're that middleman that if there's a problem with the teacher or anything like that, then they're going to call their coach, you know. And, yeah, you just got to be there for them, spend time with them a lot, even besides the 2.5 hours or 2 hours you get to them with them during the basketball season or every day in practice, you know. We actually, my theory, we try to travel a lot together as a team. May not make the AD happy just because we wouldn't have as much gate revenue or whatever, but we went on the road a lot because just to spend time together as a group, because we kind of make that our second family, you know, just trying to have that atmosphere.
So you've had quite an experience being dad to your daughter, a husband and coach, where you're on call 24 hours. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good
and
balance.
That's the life.
That's the life. That's the life of it, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about your journey here to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We're going to get to that juicy part.
Okay.
So the job comes open.
Yep.
And you're thinking what?
Well, I was talking to Michael earlier about it, and I was telling him, he's like, well, do you regret getting out of coaching? And I was like, not really. I go, but the situation probably would have changed if at my old school, if I could have done the AD, the men's basketball coach, and if I would have got a full-time assistant coach, then I probably wouldn't be here right now. I probably would still be where I'm at. Okay. And then, but the things changed at my old university, and like, I was right around October of last year. There was like some job cuts and like furloughs and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, I may need to look just in case, you know. And the posting just happened to be up on, I think it was like Indeed.com, I believe. It was. There's a good fundraiser for a sponsorship for you.
There you go.
And then I just figured I'd apply and didn't really hear anything back. And then all of a sudden I got a phone call in February and
from me,
from you, and it's like, would you be interested? I'm like, I think I said, hold on just a second, and talked to my wife. I was like, yeah, I'm interested, you know. And so immediately started doing a ton of research on the school and on the area. And
what did you find most interesting or likable?
I guess what intrigued me a lot is I wanted to be an athletic director. Obviously, that was my career path, and I really was interested in the junior college level, in the community college area, and I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And I liked the city area, being close to a major city, and I thought that was really appealing. And then I just found out that, you know, they were just building brand new facilities with the baseball field and soccer field, and
so that was good.
And I was like, all right, there's a lot of opportunities here.
We're going to come back and talk about what you think about Kansas City, Kansas in just a moment. All right. We'll be right back after this break.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong.
Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The Action Team.
Action Team. Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
And welcome back to Conversations. I'm Robin, and we're here with our new athletic director, Mr. Tony Tompkins, and we were talking about your first impression of Kansas City, Kansas when you applied for the position here. So did you come and check us out, or was it everything on the internet?
Pretty much mostly on the internet.
Okay.
And then, but after you called me, there was only like 4 days before the actual interview. And then was able to come out the night before and drive around the area and check out the campus and all that stuff. I was like, okay, this is pretty nice. And then once I got to meet the people, that was kind of a seller for me, meeting your staff and even the people on the interview process. I was like, they're really good people, and I felt really, really comfortable.
I think you were the first position here on campus that we did the forums.
Yes, the forum. Yeah.
And I can remember, you know, that day, of course, with all of the candidates. And we learned a lot about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, that was the first time seeing you.
Yeah.
That was the first time having a forum like that. So that was really, really neat. We got a chance to not only see you, but meet you personally,
Right.
and not just hear about, what did you think about?
Right, yeah.
You know, what did you think about that coach? But I was very impressed.
Thank you.
I mean, your demeanor, your knowledge, of course, for athletics, and I mean, I think you just blew everybody away. Did you think you did?
I felt like I did okay, but it was pretty intense. You know, after a while, I was like, okay, is this close to being done?
You looked like a pro when
Yeah,
you
well,
were
that's
at
good.
the forum.
That's good.
It was like,
And
wow, he's
inside,
done
though, I
this
was
before.
yeah, inside though, I was a little bit nervous starting, and then maybe like towards the end a little bit. But kind of once I got going, I felt more comfortable because we're talking about something that I feel like I have a decent knowledge of and what I have a passion for. You
Right.
know, so. But yeah, it was definitely a new experience for me, which I really appreciate, though.
Yeah, well, we wanted to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I hope we did.
Yes, definitely.
Thank
definitely.
you. Okay, so so you got the job.
Yeah. Thankfully.
Talked it over with your wife,
Yeah.
and you're moving to Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah.
Were there any doubts in your mind that you would come and not like it?
Not honestly, not really. It just really, I think God blessed it throughout the whole process. And we sold our house. Well, we came in to look for housing, and we put an offer on a house on Sunday, and sold our house on, I think, Wednesday.
Wow.
And if you know anything about like the Rockford area of like housing market, that just does not happen.
Okay.
And it was just kind of like sign after sign, like, hey, this is going to
So
be
everything fell into
everything
place.
just totally fell into place.
Okay.
And just with the support from Mr. Bodie and people helping me out just with the transition of moving and everything. I mean, it was about as painless as you can ask for.
Okay,
So
well,
it was really good.
Well,
So,
you were refreshing
Yeah.
to see. You come to work here,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've got to meet your coaches and all of your staff.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first impression?
I think we have a lot of potential. We did make one immediate change with our men's basketball coach, and
And we're going to meet him.
you're gonna meet him
in
shortly.
Just a
Yeah,
little bit.
just a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, and that was my only a little bit, maybe a little concern. But the rest of them, I think that they do a pretty good job, and that there's still room for improvement. But I really think they care about the college, they care about the kids, and that's important to me. And I was just able to get to know them throughout this period, and I really feel comfortable with what we have right now, and I think that they'll do a good job, and we can continue to improve and compete at the national level. So that's what I want for them all. So.
I know. That's going to be wonderful for
Yeah,
the school.
takes time. Takes
Yeah.
time, but I think it's gonna be. We'll get there.
Have you met many of the athletes?
Yes, I try to be around as much as I can. I say hi to them all the time. Obviously, checking to make sure they're going on their study halls and all that stuff, and going to class. And but I try to. We had a big orientation at the beginning of the year to introduce myself and our staff, and I'll continue to do that. But I'm going to try and be at every single home game that we can, and I'll try to go at least to a couple of away games too, just kind of see what other schools are doing as well. But,
Okay.
But I'm going to be around, and I want to be visible.
Very visible.
Yeah, to our athletes and to the rest of the college as well. So.
I know. It seems like there's a different kind of feel when you have the athletic director there.
Yeah.
It's almost like they really care.
Yeah.
Someone
we really
cares
care.
whether
Yeah.
we lose or win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means something.
Well, that's wonderful. Let's talk about the opening of the new baseball
Okay.
field. When you came, I
Okay.
believe they were just opening it, right?
Yeah, they just opened it, I think, a month or two before I came. Yeah.
What did you think about that?
It's an unbelievable facility.
It's
And,
very nice.
Yeah, there's, I think a lot of schools are envious of what we have. And, but
Because not only did they do the baseball,
yeah.
they did the
They have a
soccer.
clubhouse, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a clubhouse in there, and then we did track and field as well, and the soccer field, and yeah, we have really
I've
good
seen
facilities.
quite a bit of events going on up there.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
like
nonstop.
really surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good and refreshing to see other schools come in and use our facilities.
Yeah,
and-
there's a huge need for facilities and for outdoor facilities and indoor. So hopefully we can continue to kind of make that investment, because I think we can serve the community as well by using what we have.
Just this past Friday, I was coming up to the wellness center, and this was the first time I ever saw cheerleaders out there at one of the games. So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the field house?
Field house, I like it. It's huge. I didn't know that they hosted like all the graduations in there.
Yes.
The new floor that they have, the wooden floor, is nice, and
We have a new sound system.
have a new
don't we?
sound system in there. When I first got there, we were repainting the hallways downstairs where the offices are at. Kind of want to get a little more color in there too, but just trying to improve it. But it's a nice facility, and I think that we get a lot of use out of it, and so I like it.
What other type of improvements would you make?
And
I know things will come in time.
It'll come in
but,
time.
yeah.
I definitely think new bleachers would be helpful.
Okay.
The ones that we have now are a little bit outdated, and I think they're okay safety-wise, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But I think it would improve the aesthetics of the facility a little bit.
Okay.
We'll probably slap some new paint on there, a couple
Right.
walls as well, but we're getting banners up there and planning on doing all that, so just kind of liven it up a little bit.
And we definitely want people to come out to the games.
Absolutely,
We
we want people there.
Yes.
And we're gonna do some things a little bit this year. Probably put some new initiatives next year, trying to get more fans out and reward them a little bit as well. So
That would be fantastic. I would love to see the facilities come to life.
yes,
And
yeah.
it seems like the baseball field and the soccer fields are
Yes.
really coming to life.
Yeah.
Your coaches, your
Mm-hmm.
coaching staff, can you tell us who they are?
Yes. I'll start in the offices. So we'll
Okay.
start with baseball.
This is the test.
Yes, Coach Burleson,
Okay.
and he's our head coach, and he has a couple of assistants on staff, Matt Goldbeck and Damian Stamberski. They do a really good job. Their roster is probably around 45 to 50 this year, so they got a
Wow.
really, really big roster. Soccer, Ruben Rodriguez, and he has two assistants, Coach Honka and Tate. For the women, Honka does the men, and
Okay.
the women just won their first soccer game of the year last
Yay.
week on I think it was Saturday.
Yay.
So that was good for them.
Yes.
And great kids, and they work hard. And Coach Hobson, he's a legend in this area.
Yes, he is.
And Coach Reggie, they do our track and field. Kelly Newton is our men's basketball. Eric Nietzsche is our assistant men's basketball. Valerie Stamberski is our women's basketball coach.
Okay.
Do not have an assistant yet, but we're interviewing Wednesday
Okay.
to get a finalist for that. Casey Tillery for softball, and she just hired a new assistant, Tacey Beatty, I believe is her name.
I think so.
Yeah, and she played here, and so I kind of like that, an old player coming back and teaching the girls. So as an assistant, so I like that.
Okay.
Rodney Christensen is our head athletic trainer,
Okay.
and Ryan Aarons, and Miss Debbie is our kind of our
She keeps everybody
secretary. She
together.
keeps everything together.
Yes.
She does a fantastic job.
Well,
she does a really good
that
job.
was a
so.
really cool test. You
Yeah.
have a feel
I think
for
I got everybody.
You got everybody.
I'm trying to go through the offices. Yeah. So
Now, coming next year, you're going to be hosting your own show.
yes. Yeah.
And we're really excited about that because we do want to know what's going on in our athletics,
Yeah.
our athletic department,
Absolutely.
as far as the games and the coaches and the
Yeah.
students. So we're really excited.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yes, very much so. Well, you like us,
Absolutely.
and I think you're going to stay.
Yes, I want to.
Well, you're going to stay whether you want to or not.
Yes.
We're going to keep you.
All right.
So, but thank you for
Thank you.
coming today and sharing a little bit about yourself and what your challenges have been. But your road here has been very well received.
Yeah.
We really like you. So
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
thank you.
All right.
Well, we'll see you next time on Conversations. Thank you.